Something that has become part of our culture here, I think, we generally have more than one lead.
Yeah, you see that often. It happens organically where partnerships form, different departments. Obviously, the partnerships that Bruce and I had for so many games. And I think it just helps keep you in check.
I don't know if that's just coincidentally from the Jason and Andy duality, and we've just gotten lucky that, oh, that's actually a really great way to run a creative project.
Making a game is such a huge effort, and if you funnel too much of that attention to one, or too much of that responsibility to one person, then it can start to feel like you're not supporting the team effort.
There's just so much of the game to do, and I think it's like the purest form of collaboration is like you need at least one other person to do that. And then there's that one person you connect with the most, that you're checking in with the most, that helps you get through this long, grueling production.
It helps distribute the stress. I think it does a lot to keep the humility in place and make sure that you always have somebody challenging your ideas.
You put people that you know are strong at their fields and you put them together, there's going to be conflict, there's going to be a struggle. Well, I'm going to challenge you and you're going to challenge me, and I think that's part of the culture here at Naughty Dog. You know, that's just how great things are made, period. I think growth is through conflict, right? It is. Any story about growth is a relationship.
It's like a marriage, that you have your ups and downs. You have to build trust. Like a marriage, you don't always see eye to eye, and you get in disagreements, and it's about having built that trust and respect for one another that you have healthy ways to get past those disagreements.
We might not talk for the day, be pissed off. You go and you mull on it and you're like, you know what, there's something valid there. You see the merit. You may be hurt, you may be upset, you know, you got criticized and your stuff is ripped apart, but I prefer to hear it from him than anyone else.
And come up with a way that you can approach it to become more objective about the choices that are in front of you and say what is best for the game. Not which idea came from me or which idea came from you or from someone I like or from someone I don't like. All that doesn't matter. It's like which choice is best for the experience that we're after.
It's working it out. You know, if there's an issue that we haven't solved, it's not like put it off and talk about it later. It's like, okay, let's sit down in a room, discuss it, hash it out, figure out what's the plan, what are we going to try.
The product speaks for itself, and then you go, you know what? I do like this guy. And that happens a lot.
So what do you think about the partnership of Kurt and Shaun?
Obviously, they're both super talented.
It's great because Shaun's background is very different than Kurt's background. You know, he comes from animation and directs music videos and stuff on the side.
And I worked with him very closely together on The Last of Us. He was my cinematographer, lead cinematic animator. We talked a lot about story and characters, and he has this deep understanding of narrative structure that few people have, I would say, in the industry.
And Kurt is a game designer and also a computer science major, like he knows about programming.
Kurt came up on Uncharted 2 as like our scripting master. One of the first tasks we worked on together was the collapsing building for that E3 demo. So Kurt has just like this passion for Uncharted and gaming and interactivity.
So they're really a good balance.
They really work well together in that they complete one another. And since we're talking about relationships,
Trusting Shaun and his storytelling chops, and he's co-writing the game as well, so trusting him with the story and the characters.
He challenges me on the story, I challenge him on the gameplay, and it's a constant love-hate relationship at times. Like I'm like, I'm going home, I'm tired. And that's, I think, what makes Naughty Dog pretty strong as a studio, finding the right people to pair them up.
Shaun not having a background in game design as creative director is something new for us. We've always had people sort of rise up through the design department into that role, but we're not dogmatic about it. We'll take whoever rises to the occasion.
I don't see limitations, you know, kind of like a bulldog. I'm like, yeah, let's just do this. And Kurt's like, no, you can't.
I hope I'm not just the guy saying no all the time. A lot of times he's pushing me to like, well, what if it was gameplay? Like we have opposite arguments too.
And our relationship kind of is reflective of Nadine and Chloe. At times we're like at war, and at times we're like happy. So it's, you know,
so
it's that.
Are you the Chloe and I'm the Nadine, or what?
I'll be Chloe. I'll be Chloe, definitely.
I think more than the premise, what I'm really excited for is seeing what that team puts together. That's what I find most exciting about any projects, is like I look for what are the things I haven't done before, the things that are making me uncomfortable, And I know those guys work the same way and get off on that stuff.
The pairing of us up in itself is what I think is going to add some change to the franchise and affect it, and the different perspectives on what things are supposed to be like.
What the guys have in store for Chloe and Nadine, and I know what that arc is and ultimately what that story says, I think people will be surprised by that kind of story within an Uncharted universe.
Could you see you two working together going into the future?
Most probably, yes. If he still likes me at the end of this.
We never know what the future holds. But I would love to work with him. Are you breaking up with him?
He's leaving me right now on camera. This is awful.
We're gonna have a lot of beers after this game is done.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah.